First, the top news headlines. 2 dead, 1 rescued and 6 still missing, including 3 minors, after suspected Kuki militant attack Meitei village in Jiribam district. Search operations underway. Violence escalates in Lamla Assembly constituency as suspected Kuki militants launched 4th consecutive day of attacks, triggering evacuations and intense clashes with security forces. Kuki militants target newly built police housing in Phayang, launched rocket attacks from Kharamwaifei and Nakuzang, forcing villagers to flee. 2 volunteers injured in bombing. And 13 organizations announced 24-hour total shutdown in Manipur in protest against abductions and militancy in Jiribam, demanding urgent government action and accountability. A very good evening. You are watching IS English News. This is Suraj Khongban Tabab giving you the news. Now the news in detail. Of the total 10 missing internally displaced persons, at least 2 people were confirmed dead. 1 was rescued and 6 others remain missing following an attack by suspected Kuki militants yesterday at Jakura Dhor Lamlankithel, located under the Borbekra subdivision of Jiribam district. The deceased, identified as Laishram Barrel, age 63 years, and Maibam Keso, age 71 years, both of whom were found dead in the aftermath of the assault, which one of them partially burned. A third individual, Pebam Rajkumar, age 64 years, was rescued from the area, while another returned back alone to police station IDP camp. Authorities are intensifying search operations to look at the remaining 6 individuals who are still unaccounted for. The missing include Rani Devi, age 60 years, Laishram Haitombi, age 25 years, Telem Thoibi, age 31 years, and 3 minors, including an 8-year-old girl, a 2.5-year-old boy, and a 10-month-old baby. It is reported that a total of 13 IDP civilians went missing after yesterday's attack. However, 3 of them were rescued on the day itself from Golkhal by the security forces. The security forces have mobilized to search for the missing persons, while local authorities are calling for peace and cooperation from the community. According to a media briefing today at Manipur Police Headquarters in Imphal, the police confirmed that search operations are ongoing to look at missing individuals. Inspector General of Police Dr. I.K. Muiva stated that a criminal case has been registered at the Borbekra police station in Jiribam. So far, 5 individuals have been rescued as part of the ongoing investigation. IGP Muiva further mentioned that after 40 to 45 minutes of heavy exchange of fire, the situation at Jiribam was brought under control. After the firing ceased, the area was searched and 10 bodies of armed militants were recovered, along with arms and ammunition, including 3 AKs, 4 SLRs, 2 INSAs, 1 RPG, 1 pump action gun, BP helmets and magazines. He mentioned that so far their identities could not be established as of now, but as for the arms and ammunition which were recovered from them and their uniform, it has been established that they are armed militants. He added that pending post-mortem examinations, the identities of the deceased could be confirmed if any family members come forward to claim the bodies, which would then help determine the specific armed group to which they belong. The IGP also emphasized that in cases where armed miscreants engage in gunfire against state police or central security forces, the police and security forces will respond with appropriate retaliation. Lok Sabha MP Bimola Koijam expressed grave concern over the circulation of a photograph of the 6 missing individuals, including 3 minors, on social media. The image has sparked widespread speculation that the individuals were captured by suspected Kuki militants. Reacting to the situation, MP Akoizam took to X, where he uploaded the photo and addressed several key government officials. In his post, Akoizam urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Manipur Chief Minister and Biren Singh to take immediate action to ensure the safety and freedom of the missing persons, particularly the women and children. He emphasized that these individuals are citizens of India and called on the authorities to use all available resources to secure their release from the suspected armed captors. The MP also warned that if any harm were to come to the missing women and children, the responsibility would lie squarely with the government. His post concluded with a call to action using the hashtags Manipur and Manipur under attack. Meanwhile, the Ziri United Committee JUC has demanded the immediate safe rescue of 6 internally displaced persons, including 3 women and 3 minors, who remain missing following the attack by suspected Kuki militants at Borbekra subdivision. The committee issued a 24-hour ultimatum for their rescue, warning that failure to act would compel them to launch more intense forms of agitation. In a press conference held at the office of Jiri Ima Mairapaibi Apunbalup, the convener of JUC, H. Priyananda, alleged that the attack, which involved the burning of several Meitei homes and resulted in the deaths of 2 IDPs, as well as the disappearance of 6 others, was due to the inadequate deployment of security forces in the region. Priyananda emphasized that the security lapses had left the vulnerable IDP population exposed to such brutal assaults. The press briefing was attended by various civil society organizations and members of the Mairapaibi from Jirbam district, who voiced their concerns over the escalating violence and the lack of protection for displaced communities. Furthermore, Priyananda stated that the families of the 2 deceased have refused to claim the bodies until the government takes necessary steps to address the situation.
Borbega police station relief camp singda lonana manakta leriba ekhogi maitegi yum singda landarak padagi khangkhang udana mafam aduda ekhogi maitegi oiba khoi chinau sing anikha mafam aduda makhoi na tamthina hatokpiki hariba thodok aduga mari lenena miyoi taruk amasu angang yauna ekhogi nupi ahan ama nupi maunaha ani aduga angang pikliba angang yauna miyoi taruk makhoi na phaduna ekhoi pukhibagi thodok asiga mari lenena hariba pharaga pukhiba miyoi taruk asi athuba matamda haibadi pung kun marigi manungda mahaki mung manungsingda mari lenaba authority na Manipur lengangna makhoigi mung manungsingda khusinnagadabani natragadi hariba asiga mari lenena jiri bamda leriba apunbagi khogi.
The violence in Lamla Assembly constituency in Fallis has escalated sharply, with suspected Kuki militants launching a fresh wave of attacks today morning, marking the 4th consecutive day of conflict. The situation has been increasingly dire, beginning with a series of coordinated assaults starting on November 9th evening. Around 8:30 p.m. yesterday, Kuki militants fired bombs and small arms at Meitei villages, including Sanasabi, Thamnapokpi, Santi Khongbal, and Sabungko Kuno. This marked the 3rd consecutive night of escalating clashes. In response, state forces and the Maha Regiment launched a counter-offensive. The gunfire exchanges continued late into the night, with sporadic fighting persisting until around 2 a.m. However, around 7 a.m. today, the militants resumed their assaults, launching fresh bombings and engaging in heavy gunfire in these same villages, further exacerbating the situation. The overnight clashes and ongoing attacks have left many villagers in fear, prompting mass evacuations from the affected areas. Families from Thamnapokpi, Santi Khongbal, and surrounding villages have fled their homes, seeking refuge in safer zones as the violence shows no sign of abating. Security forces have reinforced their positions, attempting to stabilize the situation and protect civilians, but tension remains high. With this being the fourth consecutive day of attacks, the region faces an increasingly volatile security environment and the threat to civilian safety continues to grow. In a violent escalation yesterday evening, suspected Kuki militant launched a series of attacks on villages in the peripheral area of the Imphal Valley following the death of 11 Kuki militants in a clash with the CRPF in Jiribam district. The assaults targeted the villages of Kauktruk, Kadangban, Kangchup Chingkhong and Phaying under the Lamsang police station in Imphal West. The attacks began around 7:15 p.m. when militants fired bullets and launched bombs including rockets at the villages. Central and state security forces deployed in Kangchup Chingkhong responded with retaliatory gunfire. Approximately an hour later, around 8:20 p.m., the militants set fire to newly constructed fabricated houses at Porompat Singh in Phayang, which had been built to house police and security personnel. In a further escalation, the militants began firing rockets from Karam Waifei and Nakhuzang at around 7:25 p.m. Several rockets struck the areas of Phumlo and Lairin Sazik with some failing to detonate on impact. The attacks caused panic, forcing residents of both villages, including children from Wathalambi and Leitan Pokpi, to flee their homes in fear. During the attack, two village volunteers identified as Ilangbam Pari, age 24 years, from Wabagai, and PH Devananda, age 34 years, from Kangmong Maisnam Laikai, sustained injuries from a bomb attack in Kangchup Chingkhong. Both have been evacuated to RIMS Hospital for treatment. The situation remains tense and authorities continue to monitor the developments as search operations are launched and security forces remain on high alert. Frustration over the perceived negligence of state authorities to deploy sufficient forces in the vulnerable areas of Lamlai Assembly constituency has led to protest and the imposition of an indefinite ban along the Imphal-Ukhrul road, effective immediately. The protest was initiated by the Lamlai Kendra Village Volunteers Force LKVVF, which decried the lack of adequate state force presence in critical zones, particularly at Yangang Pokpi, Uyok Ching and Thamna Pokpi Uyok Chingda range, despite previous assurances from local leaders. During a press briefing held today at Sabung Khog, LKVVF's Commander-in-Chief Yumkhaibam Boson expressed dissatisfaction with the government's failure to act. He recalled that both Lamlai Assembly constituency MLA K.H. Bomcha and the Imphal Superintendent of Police had promised to deploy state forces to the region by September. However, Boson pointed out that despite these assurances, Kuki militants have continued their attacks over the past 4 days, using sophisticated weapons and bombs to target villages such as Thamna Pokpi, Sanasabi, Santi Khungbal and Sabungkhog Kuno. Boson emphasized that the ban would continue indefinitely until the government fulfills its promises to ensure the safety of the affected areas. He made it clear that the LKVVF would not retreat until their demands were met, highlighting the growing frustration and desperation in the region.
अखोई लंबाई केंद्र की मनुंग चंबा रेड जोन हाइरिबा समको खुनौ यांगंग पोपी छाती कोंगबान थमना पोपी हाइबे एरिया सना साबी हाइबे एरिया सिदा कुकी मिलिटेंट सिना अतल अखप लैतना नोमै काथरक बजिगी मरम होइदुना हौखिबा सेप्टेम्बर की तांग मंगा दा मणिपुर गवर्नमेंट की मिहुसिंग हाइबदी इम्फाल ईस्ट की एसपी लंबाई केंद्र की एमएलए गा यांगंग पोपी की ग्राउंड दा एखोई पुलप फमिनरबा मतुंगदा था अमा मतम थारगा अखोई था अमा एसपीना मतम थारमबा मतुंगदा थबक ओइना कइमता पांथोकबिरतबदगी हौजिक हौखिबा नबेम्बरगी तांग मापनगी नुमदांगी कापथरकबा असिना मरम होइदुना रेड जोनदा लैरिबा प्रजासिंगी अदुकी मतिक वाबा अखोई लमनाई केंद्र विलेज वॉलंटरी फोर्सना गवर्नमेंटदा थमलिबा वाफम असि तारक्तबदगी हौजिक ngasi तांग 12 की नुमित नबेम्बरगी तांग 13 की हौजिक
13 valley-based organizations, including the International Peace and Social Advancement (IPSA), People's Action for National Democratic Movement (PANDAM), Kanglei Park Lamjing Apunma Maira Pai Belup, Kanglamai All Club Organization Association and Maira Pai Belup, ISCOM Lup, Kanglei Park Students Association (KSA) and Indigenous Peoples Association of Kanglei Park (IPAC) have announced a 24-hour total shutdown from 6 p.m. today to 6 p.m. tomorrow in Manipur. Other participating groups include Chanura Lamchinglel, Kangzei Park CLK, Kanglei Ima Lup KIL, Lomi Yaifa Lup Kanglei Park, Loya Lup, Educational and Rural Development Organization ERDO, Malim Ima Kanbalup MIKL, Struggling Women's Association SWA, and Apunba Kaithel Sinai Bilup Aksil. In a press meet held today at IPSA's office in Kesampat, the organizations called for urgent government intervention to secure the release of individuals reportedly abducted in Jiribam district. They also criticized the recent militant attack and the perceived inaction of the Manipur government and law enforcement agencies in addressing the situation. General Secretary of ERDO Santana Hakpam stated that the shutdown is being held to protest against the growing insecurity and violence in the region.
Civil force again, Towing Batova, when the Kentong Moina, Kalaga, Lumsiran Gisoida, Akoi Kotruk, Sanamsiran, Swai Rainsida, coordinated over attack, Akoi Facebook, the social media, the drone give away attack, then rocket capacity attack, Sigi Mayamse, Chatter Pose, Si Sakana, Kentong the Pose, Sigi Matanga, Nasi, Akoi look down, Boisina, Akoi Miam, the Law Foxery, Ositariana, Kunmarigi, 24 hours, I thought, Akoi total, shut
Passage along the Imphal-Ukrul road has been disrupted due to the total shutdown of road indefinitely from yesterday midnight against the Kuki militants' attack at Santi Khongbal, which injured a farmer. The ban was called by the Tangkhul East Katamnao Long and Tangkhul Naga Valley Students Association. In support to the ongoing ban called by the two Tangkhul Students Union to protest the recent attack by suspected Kuki militants, which left a Tangkhul farmer injured, the Sinaulong Women Society staged a sit-in protest today at Yangang Pokpi Bazaar. The protest was supported by the Mairapaibis from neighboring Meitei villages who joined the demonstration in solidarity. During the protest, the Vice President of the Sinaulong Women's Society, Penmi Buru, expressed strong condemnation of the attack. She highlighted that the local population largely consists of daily wage earners and farmers, emphasizing the impact the attack has had on the community. Buru called for peace and urged the authorities to provide appropriate compensation to the injured farmer. The protesters collectively voiced their demand for justice and the restoration of peace in the region.
Office Kabashu later, school Oja Karata Balay, Adu Tapak Shuruga, Hingba, Mishingbu, Shumaina, Wahan Bashe, Equation, Yanin de Hebushe, Media get through the Pongtok Jabane. Akum Shubada, Equidi, government hygiene.
Following the death of 10 suspected Kuki militants during a retaliation by security forces who responded to an attack on a CRPF post and the Borbekra police station in Jakurodhor, Jiribam district, and the confiscation of several weapons, the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum ITLF Committee on Tribal Unity KOTU and Kuki Students Organization Sardar Hills have condemned the CRPF's action. The group stated that Kuki volunteers have never attacked central forces to death and denounced the security forces' response as unjustified. In a strong reaction to what it termed as inhuman actions by CRPF personnel in Chiribam, the Kuki Students Organization KSO General Headquarters has issued a directive imposing restrictions on the movement of CRPF personnel within the Kuki-dominated areas. According to a notice issued by the Department of Information and Publicity of KSO, the directive prohibits any CRPF personnel from leaving their camp premises, with violators being held personally responsible for their actions. It has made it clear that the directive will remain in effect until the CRPF formally acknowledges and apologizes for their alleged misconduct in Chiribam. The KSO also emphasized that this measure forms part of a broader non-cooperative movement against the CRPF in the region, urging all KSO branches across districts and blocks to comply with the enforced notice. In a recent action, the Manipur Students Federation MSF shut down several wholesale shops in Imphal for allegedly selling essential commodities at exorbitant prices in violation of government-mandated price controls. Reports had surfaced from local residents raising concerns that the shops were not adhering to the prescribed price list for daily necessities. The MSF launched an inspection drive, mobilizing around 100 volunteers to carry out checks across the city. The group, according to sources, acted on multiple complaints that the prices of essential goods were being inflated beyond government set limits. It is understood that the shops in question were also found to be lacking the required public display of price list, which is mandated by government regulations. Meanwhile, the MSF has submitted a memorandum to the Chief Minister and Biren, highlighting concerns over the recent price hikes of essential commodities and the alleged withholding of goods from godowns in the Imphal areas. According to the MSF, reports from local residents indicated that daily necessities are being sold at inflated prices, despite the government's price control order issued on October 4th. The MSF also raised concerns about essential items, including kitchen products, that have reportedly not been released from storage, with some shops blaming a limited supply. In light of these issues, the MSF has called for immediate intervention from the state government to address the situation and ensure that the public has access to affordable goods during the ongoing crisis. In a demonstration marking 18 months since the onset of the crisis, internally displaced persons, IDPs in Manipur, have staged a protest voicing their concerns over the inadequate relief and living conditions. The protest was held at the Lemaram Kangzibung Community Hall, where a large group of IDPs living in makeshift shelters at locations such as the Lemaram SC Girls Hostel and Lemaram Government High School gathered, highlighting the struggles faced by the displaced families. The protest was organized by several community groups, including the Kanglei Women's Welfare Association, Apunba Manipurgi Awonba Amagidamak, and the All Manipur Progressive Students Association. The IDPs are demanding resettlement efforts at the earliest. The protesters also expressed dissatisfaction with the slow pace of rehabilitation efforts, stating that they have been left in limbo for far too long. A displaced victim from Defilen in Churchanpur district, H. Ashalata, spoke about the deplorable conditions in which the IDP community is living. She expressed the growing frustration among displaced families, stating that they were fed up with the ongoing hardships. Ashalata said that their primary wish was to return to their homes and live in peace, even if it was only for a single day, reflecting the collective sentiments of many IDPs who are yearning for safety, stability, and a chance to resume a normal life after enduring months of displacement.
Kina kuida dum tangkak naina attack tawbase akhoi pamjade sarkar na sike waro shinje pushin biro matik laiba luching pure loigadaba akhoi gi luching basing thukpira o akhoi gi awabase khangbidana aduga akhoi gi thamoi da sugli ba akhoi gi thamoi da pen da ba mayamje sarkar na khachikang waraga su mateng pamiduna akhoi gi hana leijeri ba yum da यारगदी चंगहन बियो कोई सरकार ने साबा फैब्रिकेटेड हाउस से कोई सिदा लाइबा पामचदे लाइरगजु लाइट्रगजु कोई इसागे युम हाइबसी मतंग कोई ज्ञान ताना कोई सिदा वखन चनिंग ताना लाइबदो कोई पामी हाइबसी कोई हाइजनिंगे.
Before we wind up, let's have a quick look at the top news headlines once again. Two dead, one rescued and 6 still missing, including 3 minors, after suspected Kuki militant attack, Meitei village in Jiribam district. Search operations underway. Violence escalates in Lamla Assembly constituency as suspected Kuki militants launch 4th consecutive day of attacks, triggering evacuations and intense clashes with security forces. Kuki militants target newly built police housing in Faying, launched rocket attacks from Karam Waifei and Nakuzang, forcing villagers to flee. 2 volunteers injured in bombing. And 13 organizations announced 24-hour total shutdown in Manipur in protest against abductions and militancy in Jiribam, demanding urgent government action and accountability. Well, that's all for now. Keep watching IS News and have a great evening.